Our Southwest road trip with Mike and Vicki from Dota 66 was off to a great start. By following our road trip rules, we got to explore Valley of Fire on our drive to our first tentpole destination of the trip. Then we got the most out of our 2 full days of exploring Zion National Park while learning why it's become the second most visited national park in the United States. In this video, we'll continue east from Zion on our route to our second tentpole destination of the trip, Carlsbad Caverns National Park. We'll take in the sights en route to our destination for the night, Monument Valley Tribal Park, on the Arizona-Utah border on this, our third detailed road trip video. Leaving through the east entrance of rainy Zion National Park, we quickly climbed to the top of the canyons to drive through the beautiful ranch land that surrounded the park, over which we flew on the helicopter just the day before. Our drive to Monument Valley would take over 4 hours, so per our road trip rule number 1, we would stop along the way to take a break on the drive. The target for that stop was a lunch in Page, Arizona. The route changes from lush forest to high desert along the way, passing interesting rock formations, through small towns, and passing the occasional 5-star resort. Apparently there's some mesas over there. We should go investigate. As we approached Page, we saw the sign for Wahweap Overlook. We assumed that it would be a good view, so we invoked road trip rule number 5. If there's a point of interest not far out of your way, take a look. What we got to see was a sweeping view over the drought-ravaged Lake Powell and its Wawheap Marina. You never go wrong by stopping at an overlook. That's interesting. The Hard Rock cafes are now getting into libraries. Maybe that's a Hard Rock hotel on the lake. It's a Hard Rock hotel as best we could tell.
Yes. Maybe it's Hard Rocks, because there's many.
Shortly afterwards, we stopped at the Carl Hayden Visitor Center for the Glen Canyon Dam, named for the long-serving Arizona senator who was instrumental in getting the project funded. The dam and the bridge were certainly a sight to behold. We wandered onto the bridge to see more of the river and what could easily be called the start of the Grand Canyon. We were running a little behind schedule due to the slower driving in the rain and 2 unscheduled stops, so at this time we opted to stick to road trip rule number 3, avoid fast food establishments, rather than to buy back some time by going with fast food. We decided to try Big John's Texas Barbecue. As we drove into the parking lot, we got a dashboard warning that our front left tire was losing air. This was the first real issue we encountered on our trip. We were lucky that it occurred in town and not over the hundreds of miles of uninhabited roads we just traversed. We just assumed we picked up a nail somewhere approaching town and could get a quick tire patch. Asking the most credible person nearby, the barbecue pitmaster himself, we were told that there was a tire shop only a block away. We dropped off Vicki and Kathy to order lunch so that Mike and I could drive the car over there and get the tire repaired while we ate. Our lunch at Big John's was great. It was a nice place to hang out until we got the call that the car was ready. One minor detour in Page, Arizona. Wasn't too bad. Happened during lunch. I guess we couldn't have been lucky. It was 2 blocks away from where we stopped to eat lunch. We saw the tire was low on air, drove it down here, and they found a delamination, so we have a new tire and we'll be on our way. By the time we were ready to hit the road again, it was late enough that we had to cut out our short hike to Horseshoe Bend, so we didn't have to rush to get to our sunset tour of Monument Valley. We figured that'd be fine since we would get to see more entrenched river meanders the next day during our scheduled stop at the lesser-known Gooseneck State Park. We continued to drive to Monument Valley while gaining confidence in our new, used tire. After arriving at the entrance to Monument Valley, we got our first glimpse of the View Hotel. As the name suggests, it has a spectacular view of this iconic natural wonder. We approached what we assumed was the service entrance, but we didn't want to take time to look for the actual grand entrance. The view from our balcony was spectacular, unsurprisingly. It really got us excited to get into exploring the 5 square miles of jaw-dropping rock formations that were up to 1,000 feet tall. They looked like the stuff we'd seen in so many old westerns, or more importantly, Roadrunner cartoons. Needless to say, we were disappointed that we didn't see any Acme merchandise in the trading post. When exploring the park, you have 2 choices of how to view the rock massifs. If you choose to drive your own vehicle, you're required to stay on a loop road that enables you to see many of the iconic attractions.
Getting ready to go on a cruise. what? We're gonna go tour.
We opted for a different plan, where we were ushered through the park by Monument Valley Tribal Tour's Sunset Tour in a covered 4x4, visiting the popular sites, then being guided through the things that weren't available to self-serve users. Kathy assures me that this is going to smooth out and nothing flat.
Very smooth.
We started out stopping at a couple of places that were available to all the tourists. As you can see, while incredibly scenic, it really didn't feel like communing with the nature of the area at all. So Monument Valley is on Navajo land, and they run all the tours. And so we get to visit all these places with the guided tour. It turns out every tour leaves exactly the same time to make sure that everywhere you go, you get to meet a whole bunch of people from all over the world. The View Hotel, it's the only hotel inside the Navajo grounds. And it's very nice. At each stop, we asked our guide questions about what we were seeing, since there was no narration on the tour. So we invoked Roadtrip rule number 8. If you don't know the real facts, make something up. And those are more rocks. Pardon my technical jargon there. This is another some sort of rock. We chose the non-narrated tour. That allows us to make up our own names, and I believe they're legally binding. Another angle of some rock.
Yeah.
Of unspecified name. John Ford's Point. And a Ram 2500.
Dun, dun, dun.
Even Monument Valley isn't immune to urban sprawl. Here you see the commercialization of a natural wonder.
It's so spectacular. I don't even know what to say about it. I love every bit of it. Those are the three sisters.
What are their names?
Shirley, Wilma, and Betty.
I think you had it right.
What? You mean I'm right?
One in a row. You're on fire.
Fire.
After a few questions, our guide Sandrea opened up and gave us great insights on everything we saw. She told us that many tour groups have said that they didn't want the narration and just wanted to take in the beauty on their own. I just don't understand people like that. Situation report. Rain is expected. Rain God Mesa. Ask for it by name. Then we left the beaten path in what felt like we were going back in time. This is where the magic really started for us. Our first stop was in a traditional hogan. We got to see firsthand how effective this wood and mud hut was in inclement weather, since it had started to pour as we entered. Then we were told about how these structures were made and learned about the traditional Native American blankets and how they were made using dyed wool from local shrubs as coloring agents. It really gave us a sense how the pervasive trading post culture in the area was so important to the local residents. After our education and waiting out the worst of the storm, we continued our backstage valley tour. We got the opportunity to see what happens when a tour vehicle tries to travel off the path. It buries its wheels axle deep in the sand.
I think a warm shower will feel good tonight.
I think you're right. we got to stop at a rock formation called the Big Hogan. Think of it as the Pantheon of the West, because in scale it's reminiscent of the oldest church in Rome, Italy. We got to witness how this natural open gathering place was so hospitable even during a rainstorm.
There's a hole in the road.
I know. That's so amazing.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Our fantastic guides, Andrea, even favored us with some Native American folk songs to give us a feel how the natural acoustics of this natural covered amphitheater were. Weirdly, it really made us feel a connection to this special place. Our next stop was to a rock arch known as the Ear of the Wind. It was great to wander around it without crowds, as we were the only tour group visiting at the time nearing sunset.
This is great. Oh my God. Okay. I think it's unbelievable. There's a big hole, which is the ear of the wind.
What?
Right?
It's nice that the Jeep tours have now kind of separated, so we're at different spots. We're in spots that you can't get to with your own car. That's a big arch, beautiful sand. It's worth coming to.
I think we're on Mars.
As it started to get darker, it was time to head back for some scenic riding.
The arch to the left of the Big Hogan. And always shoot your videos with randos in the foreground.
Yeah.
That's just a professional photography tip I like to share with people. Wait a minute, those two aren't randos.
We know those two.
The Three Sisters at sunset out of a speeding 4x4.
I know.
I don't see how this could go wrong.
We made our final stop at John Ford Point on the way out to see it during sunset, a fitting finale to our tour. If you can plan the time for a guided tour, we highly recommend it. Monument Valley Tribal Tours really gave us something wholly more than expected, and we're grateful to Sandrea for the experience. While the public viewpoints are worth the visit, the less visited destinations added a whole other level to the experience.
It's Kathy at John Ford Point. Oh, there's a rainbow.
Oh!
Rushing to get back before it's pitch black.
After the fantastic tour, we returned to the View Hotel, where we got to see the storm descend on the buttes of the valley from the comfort of our balconies. The hotel itself is quite well maintained and comfortable. The restaurant is nothing special, but you can't beat the scenery. Don't expect to enjoy your meal with wine since they don't serve alcohol on tribal lands. It felt a bit odd to learn that the closest bar was in Utah. You don't often hear that. Waking up at the View Hotel in Monument Valley. What a great way to start the day. This is one of the better balcony views I've seen since, well, okay, last place we stayed was pretty good too. All in all, a visit to Monument Valley is an experience everyone should have. In our next video, we leave Monument Valley to see where Forrest Gump ended his runs across America, check out some entrenched river meanders, climb a dirt mining road, visit some natural bridges, and spend a night in the self-proclaimed Switzerland of America. If you get a chance, please check out DOTA 66 to learn more about driving organ donation awareness. Thanks for watching.